Milwaukee, Madison, but it does. I have about a third of the state in Wisconsin's 7th congressional district. I got to tell you what, I would argue to all of you that part of turning Wisconsin red is making sure we turn the central and northern part of Wisconsin red. And that's what we're working on right now. My seat was held for 42 years by Congressman Dave Obey, a Democrat. We flipped it and have held it now for 3 elections, so we're well on our way. So, quick question for everybody. How many of you have seen the movie American Sniper? Raise your hand. Yeah, a few of you. Some of you have to get out of the movie theater still. It's amazing. It's a movie about an American hero who saved American lives, and it's controversial, right? And here, no doubt, because of Hollywood liberal and our leftist elites, they have protested greatly about this movie. These are the same people who have joined the president and tried to convince us that ISIS isn't Muslim, and the Taliban, they're just insurgents. They're not terrorists. I don't know if you guys saw this. Charlie probably did. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal not long ago, and it was written by one of Chris Kyle's teammates. Chris Kyle was the subject of American Sniper. Chris Kyle's teammate wrote in this op-ed that every repugnant comment by Michael Moore and company is a tribute to his fallen friend, and he actually delights in the knowledge that the man they decry was a defender of their liberty to do so. And the title of this op-ed was United States of American Sniper. I gotta tell you, I love that name because I think most Americans live in the United States of American Sniper. I think most of us in this room live in the United States of American Sniper. And it's not just Republicans, it's also independents and Democrats. It's people who watch this movie and they get it. People who know who the hero is and who the villain is. People who, when they leave the movie theater, they have a profound sense of gratitude for Chris Kyle and for every man and woman in America who raised their hand and volunteered to serve. They have great gratitude for all of them. However, the folks like Michael Moore, Seth Rogen, Jane Fonda, Sean Penn, Howard Dean, John Kerry, and all of the liberals, they don't get it, and they don't live in the United States of American Sniper. Now, every now and again, something comes up that shows the great divide from those of us who live in the United States of American Sniper and those liberals that do not. This time it was a movie. But not long ago, that bright line was shown when President Obama released Bo Bergdahl, who some say was a traitor, in exchange for 5 Taliban generals. That bright line was shown not long ago when a grandmother in Oklahoma went to work and was beheaded by a recent Muslim convert. And it's not always terrorism and terrorists that show this great divide. It happened last summer when President Obama had several policies that encouraged parents in Central America to send their kids by themselves to the U.S. border. A journey that was dangerous. Many of the kids were maimed, abused, raped. Some of them lost their lives. And those of you in the United States of American Sniper stood up and said, Mr. President, this is crazy. Stop the policy. And for the kids who came here, you said, get them well. Take care of them. And then send them back to their parents in Central America where they belong. And for saying that, those on the left called all of you racist. What's ironic about all this, though, is that the liberal left, they want to convince all of you that they too live with you in the United States of American Sniper. And they're looking out for you. The little guys, looking out for the middle class. They're offering you more government, more programs, more bureaucracy. It's all good for you. They're fighting for you, right? And it's dirty old Republicans that don't care about you. They're cold, they're heartless, they're robber barons, right? Just think about what they did to Mitt Romney. The problem is that these liberals, Barack Obama and Howard Dean and others, they have for the last 6 years been able to grow our government to historic proportions. And they have offered a lot of big, fat, loaded programs. They've offered you more rules and more regulations. Think Obamacare, Dodd-Frank, $1 trillion stimulus bill. And the problem is that with all this massive government, they haven't lifted people out of poverty and into the middle class, and they haven't offered more opportunity to the middle class. They haven't offered better jobs and better paying work for those in the middle class. Their policies, they haven't worked. They don't work here. They didn't work in the old Soviet Union. You can work in Cuba or Venezuela. They do not work. The left is now looking out for the middle class. I'm going to give you a couple examples. Anyone hear of a program called Operation Choke Point? Anybody? A few of you. Let me explain what this is. Okay, you have a few activists in the Department of Justice, the DOJ, right? And they identify some lenders in America that they don't like. And this is the agency that prosecutes people, right? They don't choose to prosecute them because these lenders have done nothing wrong. But they don't like them. They're activists. They are very clever. They decide to partner with other activists in the bank regulatory community, like the FDIC and the OCC. And together, they put pressure on banks to stop banking these lenders. And miraculously, all these lenders around America that they targeted start going out of business. Right? These are legal businesses. They've done nothing wrong. They didn't have a trial, they didn't have a jury, they didn't have a judge, they had no due process. And you go, well, what do I care if I don't use those lenders? Well, this program was so successful, they said, how else could we use it as good liberals and good activists? So they started to get banks to target gun dealers and ammunition manufacturers. And they started putting gun dealers out of business. And as you know, they haven't been so successful taking away the Second Amendment, have they? And pushing their gun laws down our throats. But they're taking gun dealers and putting them out. A lot of times, people think this happens in another community, in another state. But there's a guy in my district, his name is Mike. Mike is a veteran, he was a Marine, and he had a dream of opening his own little small business in Hawkins, Wisconsin. And it was a gun shop, Hawkins Guns. And he went to his credit union, and he had done business with his credit union for a long time. Set up his account and started Hawkins Guns. Listen, Mike probably doesn't sell more than 2 or 3 or 4 guns a day if he's lucky. He got a call several days after opening Hawkins Guns that his credit union was going to shut him down. They weren't going to bank with him anymore. The liberal lefts, they're not looking out for Mike. They're not looking out for the middle guy. Little guy, they're not looking out for the middle class. I look at the Middle East, right? I think our biggest problems in the Middle East are going to come from Iran and from ISIS, okay? And both of them want the same thing. Both of them want time for different reasons. Iran wants time to build a nuclear weapon, right? That's their mission. They want a nuclear bomb. ISIS wants time to recruit more jihadists, to raise more money and take more territory. But both of them, for different reasons, want more time. What is Barack Obama giving Iran and ISIS right now? Time! And guess what? What he could address today, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 8 years down the road, you're going to send middle-class Americans over to fight another war for billions of dollars and thousands of more lives. Barack Obama is not looking out for the middle class. There's a family in central Wisconsin. They have worked hard their whole lives, and they have paid their taxes, and they've saved a little bit of money, and they want to send their oldest daughter to college, right? And they want to send her to the best college that they can afford. They decide that she's going to go to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And as this little girl goes to school, she not only gets a great education, she also gets a great indoctrination at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And that university believes in diversity, don't they? Right? They believe in diversity of sex. They believe in the diversity of sexual preferences, of race, of religion. But what they don't believe in is the diversity of political opinions. You want to bring your ideas to the University of Wisconsin? Good luck with that. They want to teach our kids not how to think, but what to think. And they come to conservatives in Wisconsin and conservatives all across America and ask us to fund these institutional indoctrination education facilities. That's probably the wrong word, facilities, but you know what I'm talking about. They're not looking out for middle-class Americans. They're not looking out for the little guy. They're looking out for an ideology instead of our kids. I would tell you, I think the progressives, they are on the march. They are emboldened. They have a fearless leader. Listen, they have a leader who had historic losses in November, right? We took a historic majority in the House. We took control of the Senate. And what does Barack Obama do? He comes to the well of the House floor and gives a radical leftist campaign speech and calls it the State of the Union. They're emboldened. I gotta tell you what, I think our country's at stake. I believe our country is at stake. And I don't believe anyone is gonna save the country but all of you. People who are willing to get on the front line and fight for the values that have made the country great. 238 years ago, our founding fathers, they signed the Declaration of Independence because they believed in liberty and freedom and democracy. And when they signed that document, they pledged their treasure, their lives, and their families for this idea of the Declaration of Independence. Not all of you, but some of you had your parents, your forefathers come to this country by way of boat. And they came here and they gave everything up in the homeland. And they risked it all to come to America, the land of opportunity, the land of upward mobility. They wanted to live the American dream when they came to this country. And you have had men and women who have put the uniform on in this country and fought for that liberty and freedom. They have fought to defend the idea that was signed off in that Declaration of Independence, and they fought to defend the idea that brought our forefathers to this country. I'm telling you what, they didn't come here for the United States of average. They didn't come here for the United States of apology. They didn't come here for the United States of appeasement. They came here for the United States of America. And if you want to keep your country, you have to fight for it. You have to work together, you have to fight together, and you will all win together. But if you think that if we fail, someone else is going to come behind us, they're not. 50 years from now, no one will remember that we had a little chicken and fish tonight. They won't remember any of us or what was said. They'll probably remember Charlie, but no one else. They'll remember us. But they'll remember at this time, at this moment, if we stood up and we met our obligation to pass to them the very ideas of liberty and freedom and democracy and upward mobility, the idea of the American dream that was passed to us from our fathers. Let's not let that dream die. Let's go out there, let's work together. Let's fight together. Let's all go out and win together. God bless them. Thanks for having me.